The simulation chamber hummed with anti-gravity processors as Cadet Mira Kowalski stood at attention, her human frame noticeably smaller than the towering Valkyrie structures surrounding the tactical display. The Galactic Military Academy's war games were legendary, complex scenarios designed by minds that had perfected warfare across 1,000 star systems. No first-year cadet had ever scored above 60%. Commander Thexlar's crystalline eyes reflected disdain as he gestured toward the holographic battlefield. Your strategy proposal has been reviewed and rejected, Cadet. Frontal assault through the Meridian Nebula remains the optimal approach. The computational models are absolute. Myra's jaw tightened. For 3 weeks, she tried explaining that their models failed to account for chaos theory, for the unpredictable variables that made warfare an art rather than pure mathematics. But to the Academy's elite, species who'd evolved on peaceful garden worlds with predictable climates, her insights from Earth, that savage death world of hurricanes and predators, seemed primitive. Permission to speak freely, sir. Thexlar's translator implant buzzed with what might have been a sigh. Denied. You will execute the approved strategy at 0800 hours. Dismissed. That night, Mira sat in her cramped quarters, staring at the tactical display on her datapad. The war game scenario was brutally simple: lead a small fleet through enemy territory to extract a diplomatic envoy. The Academy's solution relied on overwhelming firepower and predictable attack vectors, the kind of thinking that won battles in laboratory conditions. But Mira had grown up watching Earth's apex predators, studying how humanity had clawed its way to the stars from a planet that actively tried to kill its inhabitants. She understood something the peaceful species didn't, that weakness could become strength, that chaos was a weapon, and that the best strategy often looked like madness. At 0800, the simulation began. Myra's fleet materialized at the designated coordinates, and immediately, she deviated from the approved plan. Instead of charging toward the nebula, she scattered her ships, broadcasting false distress signals from multiple vectors. The enemy AI, programmed by the Academy's best strategists, responded predictably, dividing forces to investigate. Cadet Kowalski, you are off mission parameters. Thexlar's voice crackled through the comm, return to formation immediately. Mira ignored him. Her fingers flew across the controls as she piloted her command ship into the densest part of the nebula, the region the Academy had labeled tactically unsound due to sensor interference. That's exactly why she chose it. The enemy fleet converged, expecting an easy target. What they found was a ghost. Mira had already slipped through, using the nebula's radiation to mask her signature while her decoy drones drew fire. By the time the enemy realized the deception, she'd extracted the diplomat and was accelerating toward the exit vector. But the simulation wasn't finished. The enemy flagship, an AI dreadnought, moved to intercept. It was a ship her small vessel couldn't possibly defeat in direct combat. The Academy observers leaned forward, anticipating her inevitable failure. Mira smiled. This was the moment she'd been waiting for. She accelerated directly toward the dreadnought, every tactical sensor screaming warnings. At the last possible second, she dumped her ship's entire reactor core, creating a miniature star that disrupted every sensor within a light second. In the blinding chaos, her ship tumbled past the dreadnought, riding the explosion's shockwave like ancient Terran surfers rode ocean waves. 20 seconds later, her vessel crossed the extraction boundary. Mission complete. The simulation chamber fell silent. Myra's score flashed across the display, 94%. A new Academy record. Commander Thexlar approached slowly, his crystalline features unreadable. For a long moment, he simply stared at the tactical replay, watching a human cadet dismantle centuries of military doctrine with chaos, intuition, and calculated recklessness. Your homeworld, he finally said, breeds a dangerous kind of thinking, Cadet Kowalski. Mira met his gaze without flinching. Yes, sir. That's why humanity survived it. Thexlar's translator implant made a sound that might have been a laugh. From now on, I think we should pay more attention to Deathworlder strategies. Class dismissed, except you, Cadet. We need to discuss redesigning our entire curriculum. As her classmates filed out in stunned silence, Mira allowed herself a small smile. The galaxy's military elite had just learned what every human child knew instinctively: when you grow up fighting to survive, you learn to make the impossible look easy.